Hello Internet. I wanted to put a video out to try to see if I can get some helpful information on growing my own trees. I decided to try to grow some pineapples last year. I may show you the failure that occurred there a little later, but this year I decided to start growing some of my own trees, and before doing that I didn't actually do any good investigation prior to the purchases on most of them, other than looking at the website and seeing which ones it suggested grew well in my area in the panhandle of Florida. So now I want to kind of put out there and see if I get some tips from others who actually are familiar with this, because searching on the internet and all the AI mumbo jumbo that's out there, it kind of garbles information that contradicts itself all the time. I figured get some human input might actually be a little more useful. So I've got 5 trees I wanted to show, and I think that's 6. And so I figure we'll go one by one and see what kind of useful information I can get from everybody out there. Alright, so here we have an Alberta peach tree. It is about 6 feet tall. It was planted in the middle of January, right before we had some lows that were around the upper teens, lower 20s for a number of days. I got it in a little under a week beforehand. It had 0 leaves on it at the time. Again, now we're at the end of March, and plenty of trees. It's already had blossoms that the bees have taken advantage of, and obviously there's plenty of growth, but most of the blossoms have already withered down to almost nothing. But I was kind of curious, is this a tree that actually should be cut back at this point at all, or if it should be left as it is, just let it grow and get itself situated well in the ground before I do any sort of pruning of any sort. There was one item that I actually just reduced today. It was this little nub that was down here at the base. It was about 1 inch long. Cut it back. You can see it was actually dead. Hopefully that wasn't a mistake I made already. I still need to take off the zip tie, obviously, too, before that causes problems. But curious if there's any suggestions on what should be done with this. It should just be left as it is for now, let it grow, and then next year, when it's dormant, actually doing its first trimming then. Curious what your thoughts are. This is the tree number 2 here. Again, this is another Alberta peach tree. It was planted again at the same time, mid-January. I am kind of curious. This one's only about 3 feet tall, but I'm kind of curious if this grafting here that the website did is going to come back to bite me. Some of the videos I've seen talks about how you don't want limbs on a tree pinching each other, and this looks like it is potentially could cause problems. If there is, I don't think there's anything I can do to save this tree whatsoever, but anyway, so it's got plenty of growth, obviously, so that's a good sign to start off with, but curious if it's going to be doomed, so we'll see how that goes. Again, that's tree number 2. Any thoughts, let me know. And if you're wondering why on earth these concrete blocks around my trees, it is because I have huskies that like to run and knock things over if they aren't paying attention, so protecting them from the dogs. On to tree number 3. Right, tree number 3 here is a Granny Smith apple tree, and as you can see, this one is finally, this was actually planted in February, just about 3 to 4 weeks ago. Finally getting some growth here up on the tops of the trees. Slow and steady here. I'm actually kind of wondering if maybe I put it in too shaded of an area, because we're about almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We are 4 o'clock, 4:15, and not too much direct sunlight, but and I did have, again, curious again if I should do any sort of cutting on this tree already. I did do one little cut. There was a branch that was right here that literally went straight down. Then I went ahead and just cut off that tiny little notch there. But anyway, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me either. But again, plenty of branches that are starting to look like they're about to grow. Get some buds on a couple others, and so yeah, curious again if I should do any additional pruning at this point or wait. Any thoughts on this one? And this tree back here is a foreshadowing of things to come with the next tree. Okay, so 2 weekends ago, I cut down that tree stump that you guys saw just a second ago, and unfortunately, when that tree came down, it came down and took off this part of the tree right here. There was about 18 inches or so of this red delicious apple that got decapitated when the tree came down. Went the opposite direction I was trying to cut it, but 2 out of 3 is not bad for cutting down trees and not having it fall on anything. But so this one used to be about 4 feet tall. Now it's more about 3 feet tall, I guess. And I am kind of curious. I did notice down here near the base, this weird, almost fuzzy looking growths that are down here. I'm not sure if those are anything of concern or not. But as you can see, there's some growth that started to occur, and those actually have kind of blossomed more since the tree took out the top of it. I just did a fresh cut on this piece today because I initially had cut it with some dull shears, and I knew it was getting cold. Our final cold week last week, so I went ahead and waited for that to pass. So it had already been a week, and I just went ahead and took that off today because I know we're having warmer nights now in the one more night of the upper 40s, and then everything else is going to be in the 50s for the night lows. And looking at this growth here, obviously some sort of bug, it looks like, has already found this tree and started munching on the leaves here, so hopefully that's not a major concern and it'll do fine with that. But anyway, any suggestions on tree number 4? Let me know down below. All right, tree number 5 here is a clementine tree. And with this one here, a couple things. You may have already noticed I've used rubber mulch on these from the beginning, just because that was something I used in the past for my plants on the edge of my home. Worked really well. Of course, after doing a tiny bit of research on a lot of these trees, I'm starting to see the natural mulch is definitely the way to go to help, as it breaks down, to get and in a way fertilize the soil, make it more susceptible or more prone for growth for the trees and bushes. So anyway, but yeah, this one was looking halfway decent. Another thing that I heard from one person on the internets was to not place the grafting into direct sunlight if possible, to kind of have it on the back end of the sunlight. And of course, not knowing that beforehand, I already got these in the ground, and you can see the grafting here was right here, and of course it's directly in the sunlight. Other than that, though, again, this is starting to stand up on its own here, this limb. So yeah, it's looking somewhat healthy from my limited knowledge here so far. So any input on that one, let me know. Tree number 5. And the final tree here, tree number 6, the clementine as well. This one is probably only about 2.5, 3 feet tall. This one started getting some of these browning leaves here, and I was curious. I actually reached out to fastgoingtrees.com. They're the ones I purchased all these trees from, to ask them if it was something of concern or if that was normal. They said they put it off as just the shock to the tree being transported and placed in the ground. They said that this new growth here is actually a good sign, so that I shouldn't be concerned. So we'll keep following that. Again, if that's something you guys think should be a concern I need to address, let me know. And as you can see here, I did put some natural mulch down on this one. I'm trying to make it as successful as possible. I do kind of worry if I may put this one too far down in the ground. And of course, once again, you can see grafting areas, of course, straight out in the sunlight. Just what happens, I do this by accident with every tree, it looks like. So anyway, any suggestions on any of these trees, I would appreciate the comments, and keep people posted on the growth and see how things go. My first tree is kind of an expensive adventure to go 6 trees deep without any real knowledge or experience, but see how things go. Appreciate it. Bye.